What's up, guys? Ryan here at Signature Edits. Inside today's video, we're taking a quick look at the Falcon Eyes Pocket Light F7 II RGB light. So this is a battery-powered video light or photo light, whatever you want to use it for. Syncs with your phone. You can control it from an app. It's actually pretty incredible. So let's take a look, hit that intro, and get into it. All right, so let's talk Falcon Eyes F7 II Pocket Light. So as I said, this is an amazing video light. I've been using it for the last couple of days. Now, first caveat I want to say is that Falcon Eyes actually reached out, said, hey, you've used our lights in the past, which I bought with my own money. And they said, do you want to review one of these? And I was like, yeah, this looks really, really cool. And I can say that although I got it for free, this is a piece of kit I'm actually going to probably be taking with me everywhere. It's not like some review things that you get and you're like, yeah, that was okay. This is a really, really handy light, and I'm going to show you why here in this video. Now, first off, let's talk about build quality and construction and what you get with it. Obviously, you get the light itself, which weighs in, if I were to guess, let's say probably just over a pound. The thing is very small, very compact, very thin, and entirely battery powered. So there's an internal battery inside of here. It charges with USB 3. And so it's actually really, really nice. It feels just high quality. It's all aluminum, so it's got a nice heat sink naturally in it. Got a nice LED screen on the back, some dials, so it's all manual controlled. Or if you want to, you can control it entirely with your phone. So we'll get into that in a second, but just be warned, it's amazing. So it comes with the light, obviously, and it's also going to come with a honeycomb filter. Give you a little bit more directional light if that's what you're after. Or if you want to diffuse it, it comes with a nice little diffusion silicone thing. Now, one of my beefs about this light that we'll get into is that this doesn't really fit as nicely as I'd like it to. Like, it fits, and I kind of get what they were going for, but it just doesn't look nice. Like, that's the only thing about this light. If I were to choose like 2 or 3 things I don't love, it's the fact that this particular accessory just doesn't look really sexy when it's on here, but it does a great job. And I think I know why. It's because they actually wanted to space it off the light a little bit to give it a bit more extra diffusion. If this were like right up on the light and super sexy and beautiful and right on there, it wouldn't actually diffuse the light that much. So by having a little bit of space, it's creating a much more soft light. So that's why they did that. So it comes with this, it comes with the honeycomb. Both of those are silicone, gonna last forever, and then it comes with a couple accessories. One little hot shoe adapter, so you can put that on top of your camera if you want to, or on top of anything that takes a hot shoe, I guess. And then this little thing, which honestly, you might be looking at me being like, Ryan, obviously that's a blah, 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 but I have no idea what this is. Like, it looks kind of cool. It's got a little thing that you like, I don't know, you can move it around and have like 2 things on one thing, and it's got some 1/4-20 threads that you can mount it on something, but I actually don't know what it's for. So I'm assuming that one end of this is supposed to go on the light itself, and then I don't know how you connect it to anything or what you connect it to. So like, it's got 1/4-20 threads, so you could like screw it on something else, but what you'd screw it onto, I don't know. So you can just have fun with that. I guess you could put it on a light stand like that. That would be the obvious choice, and then maybe you can add something else if you want to have something else on there. But that's that. The nice thing is it's a very nice aluminum fixture. Like, it's not cheap. It's not chintzy. It's really high quality, and I would trust this with whatever gear I'm trying to put on it. So that's my point. Really high quality. And my favorite thing, the case that it comes with. Like, this case by itself, like, I just have a thing for cases and bags. So that's just me. But the case, like, it holds the light. It holds your little attachments in a different pocket. I'm doing it in a rush, but just trust me, they fit. And then it holds these little accessories if that's what you want to take with you, or you can take, you know, your USB 3 charging cable, whatever. It all fits in here. And what's really cool, it zips up. It's nice, fits in a camera bag really easily. Or if you don't have room in your camera bag, you can put it on a belt loop or on a carabiner. Like, they've really just thought through this thing and said, how can we make a case that is actually super helpful and handy? And they've done it. Thanks, guys. Love it. So let's talk about the actual quality of the light. First off, it's very bright. It's totally RGB, and it has one of my favorite features in RGB lights, which is actually a magenta green shift. So we'll get into that in a second, but essentially, let's say that this light right here, this situation that I'm filming in right now, it has a bit of a green cast to it. Well, that's fine. I can go into my camera white balance and just adjust a little bit of magenta into the white balance. Now that's great, but then every other light I have is now not going to match anymore. So that's one issue I kind of run into with my Falcon Eyes 18 TDX, is that yes, it does Kelvin, so I can make it warmer or colder. But if I'm in a situation that's like a little bit too magenta or a little bit too green, in this case, I've got a window right beside me, and that's what's lighting my face. And in the summer, the window has trees outside, and so all the light that comes in is kind of green. There's like this green cast to the light. And so the problem is with that Falcon Eyes, which I've got off here, over to the side of me, it's not on right now, but normally it is, it's going to make the light blue or yellow or whatever I need it to be, but it won't actually compensate for that. This has magenta green shift, so I can adjust like that. And then the actual app itself, incredible. So I'm going to take this light. I'm going to show you a few ways that I would normally use it, and then we can kind of show you the app and how it works, okay? So let's do it. All right, so I've got the light in behind me now, just behind that handy dandy little plant, and I'm going to use it as a backlight. Now that is probably the most common use case scenario for like this because it's so small and so convenient. I can really easily throw it in the background of pretty much any scene and just add some color, some light, some extra contrast, some interest, whatever it is that I want to do. So the cool thing about this light, because normally with a background light, what I'm doing, I'm putting it back there. See how it looks. I have to go back there again, adjust it, go back there again, adjust it until I get it right. With this light, because I've got the nice app, I just pull up the D-Cell Light app. I hit this little guy, which I've already synced, and I can instantly start adjusting. And I can look at my screen, be like, oh, that looks cool, or no, let's make it a little bit more white. Let's make it darker, let's make it brighter, right? And so it's very, very handy as a background light or just any light, saving you the trouble of going back and forth and back and forth. Like I wish every light that I had this feature, and I think moving forward, now that we've got that technology, I'm gonna wind up looking for lights specifically that have this because it's so helpful and saves so much time. So yeah, as a background light, it's really fantastic. You're not normally going to want to use it as a key light, probably, because it's small, right? So if you have the choice between a large softbox or this tiny little light, yeah, you're going to go with the large softbox to light somebody for an interview, let's say. But that goes in your bag no matter where you go. So I can take it with me, and if I need to use it as a key light, I can. If I need to light a subject with it, I can. If I want to add a little bit of extra bounce, I can. So first case, I just wanted to show you, as a background light, I can dial it in really nice, and then there's that magenta shift I was telling you about. So there's green, there's magenta, right? I can set it right in the middle. And then it's also like the app itself. I can't say enough good things about this app. There's only one thing that I would love to see them add in the future, but let's just go through the app really, really quick, okay? So if I start off in my color panel, I already showed you that. You've got this really nice HSL situation. So if you've used Lightroom or Photoshop or Premiere, whatever, any video editing application or photo editing application, you're familiar with this. You just drag wherever color you want and the amount of saturation you want. It's white in the middle, right? Super, super easy. And then you've got a nice luminance slider here. I can just dial in how bright or how dark I want to have it. Super handy, and it even tells me my color values. So if I wanted to match it with another light, it's super easy to do that. Now, if I head over here to the CCT, I can just dial in just pure old-fashioned Kelvin balances. And then I can adjust it manually with a slider. Again, the brightness and how cold or warm that light happens to be. And that hue, the magenta green shift. Super handy, super helpful. Now, the scenes are something that I probably won't be using that often, but for a filmmaker would be incredible. Like I don't make a lot of short films where I need lightning effects or I need to have candle. Candle might be kind of cool, a little cozy vibe going on in the background. Or camera flash, or screen, strobe, breathing white. They've got ambulance, fire truck, and police car. So you don't have to choose anymore. You can have all three. I don't ever probably need these, but if you're a filmmaker and you have a scene where you're in a car and there's supposed to be someone pulling you over, whatever, that would be really helpful, right? Stuff like that is just so cool to have it in the app. Pre-made and pre-mixed. Like that's really, really awesome. And of course, with every scene they've got in here, I can actually adjust the speed. So I can make it faster or slower. And it's all super simple and just nice to use. Like I've used a lot of apps for different products that you get it, you sign up, you download the app, you use it, and it's just clunky and it doesn't work the way you expect it to work and it's really limited in its features. This app does pretty much everything I would ever want except for one thing. It even has a music mode. Again, if you want to, you can sync it along with a specific song. If you're doing a music video, that might be helpful. I don't know. And then it's got a picture. Let's just stop that. A picture mode, which is really, really cool. Whatever the camera sees, there's a little dot in the middle. And when you hit this little eyedropper, it's going to take that color that it's focused on with that camera, and it's going to change the light to whatever color you happen to focus on, which is super cool and super handy. Just one of those little neat things that I never would have thought of. You can also load an actual picture. from your library if that's easier. If you have like a specific scene from the past, or you've got a photo from, you want to duplicate someone else's lighting situation, you can do that, which is really, really cool. Okay, let's talk about the things I don't love about this app. There's only one, and that is that it doesn't have the ability to save user scenes or settings. So what's kind of cool is obviously I can set my background light. I can get it exactly where I want it to be. Yeah, looks good, right? But if I close the app and I open it up again, or I shut off the light and I turn it on again, I don't have any way of saving that specific setting other than taking a screenshot and then like having to dial in those settings all over again the next time I use the app. So that's the one thing I wish they would, and hopefully they will update for future apps, is just having the ability to save scene settings would be really, really handy, both with just static lighting and also with the actual dynamic lighting. So if I've got it set here to one of these green flashing scenes, let's say, and it's flashing, that's great. Let's make it perfect. That's the perfect green flash for your YouTube videos, right? You want this. I want to be able to send you that preset or just be able to use this in every video from here on out. Well, I can't. I can't dial it in and save that exact preset. So that's the one thing about the app I don't love, but let's compare this to every other light, which doesn't have any presets or any app or any settings. And then it's like, okay, you're complaining about something that really is not that important compared to the fact that now I can just adjust my white balance really easy. It's even got this cool situation if you're a theater buff and you know what the different gels are for lighting that you'd normally use inside of your theater, you can really easily dial those in. And so it's the best. It's simply the best. I love this app. I will rave about this app to anyone who asks me. No one ever asks me, but if they do, we'll have a conversation. Okay, so let's talk about some other ways that you could use this light. I'm going to show you some footage I took just of a pair of headphones on my desk. This is kind of the other way that you'd normally use small little lights like this that is really, really great. Because when you have a small little light, the lighting is kind of going to be as soft as the source is relative to the subject. So with a large light on a person, you're going to have nice soft light. With a small light on a person, you're going to have harsh light because that light source is really small. However, if we take a small light and put it on a small object, so we're doing just a pair of headphones or a camera lens or a camera or a phone or whatever, all of a sudden that light relative to the size of the subject is very large. So you get a nice, beautiful, soft light that you can do really creative things with. So it's super handy as a product light and a light that's focused on small spaces, lighting small things. So yeah, backlight, product light, really great. You could even use it for car lighting or for light trails when you're out and taking some nighttime photography. Honestly, it's kind of the perfect light to just keep in your kit, not as like your main go-to does everything light, but as the light that you have when you're camping, the light that you have when you're at a wedding, the light that you have when you're just out on a shoot. You put it in your bag no matter what because it takes almost zero space, has almost zero weight to it, and so it's a light that you would take with you everywhere. Whereas big fancy lights like my large Falcon Eyes, whatever, 18, it's a big softbox kind of light, I can't take that with me in my backpack when I go for a hike. So I just don't have any light. And so then I either am shooting in the dark, high ISO, or I am just not shooting at all. Whereas this light, I always have it, so I can add a little kiss of light when I'm out on a hike somewhere that I would never take a light like this. Okay, so that is kind of my use case for this light. It's kind of the everyday, put in your backpack kind of light that you can take with you when you travel. When you go through the airport, this light is fine to take with you. It's not going to take up much room in your case, and it kind of does everything. Like, would I recommend it as a key light? Probably not. However, if you're traveling, you want to just set up a quick YouTube video or whatever, it's way better than no light. And if you bounce it, like it's super, super bright, so you could bounce it off a nice white wall and turn it into a pretty nice soft light. So let's give that a try. Actually, I'm going to try using it as a key light right now and just see how we get and how we like it. All right, so I've made it kind of darker in here. I've closed the window to my left. However, obviously it's during the day, so this is as dark as I could get it for the time being. Here is the light. Okay, I've got it on 100% brightness. You can see that if it's directional, just off to the side, and I was using this as a key light, well, yeah, it works, but it's still pretty harsh. Like, it's not going to be super flattering to you, but not horrible, right? Like, this is way better than this. So if I had the choice, I would choose this. However, if I were to take it and just point it instead, I've got a pillowcase just off to my right. And I take the camera settings, and let's just turn the shutter speed down a little bit so it's a little brighter in here. Maybe take my ISO up just a little. Like, all of a sudden, we've got a really nice key light. So here's without, and here's with. Now let's call it maybe more of a fill, because this side of my face still from the window is pretty bright, but you get my point. Like, comparatively, it's a lot softer, right? We don't see any harsh shadows happening. It's kind of nice and diffused. Now, if I back it up, we can play around, see what we get. All right, so here's without. And here's with. So you've got some options. You could just fire it at the wall right in front of you. And again, that's without and with, right? Just bouncing it off the wall. It's a nice fill. So it's bright enough that you can do that. And so in a pinch, absolutely, you could use this as a key light. Even not in a pinch. If you wanted to, you could. You could also use it as a really nice hair light because it's so light and small. Let's just take the phone app. We're going to take our amount down a little bit. So it would be a really nice hair light if you just had it like this. And then we'll dial it back because I always take things way too far. Somewhere around there probably. Right, so here's without and here's with. Okay, so there's a lot of different uses for this light, and because it's so small, because it's so compact, because you take it everywhere, it's going to be way more helpful than a large light in a lot of situations. And let's just see here. If we were to actually take this little silicone softbox widget and put it on. Shaboom, shaboom. Okay, so now I've got the softbox on. Honestly, not bad. Let's make it darker again so that we can really see just what this light is doing. We're going to try and isolate it. So we'll take our ISO down, shutter speed up a little bit. Okay, so now if we were to take our brightness, we'll just take it up, make it real bright. So that's with the like little diffuser thing on. What do you think? I mean, it's certainly not great if you look at the shadows on the side of my face. Like, it's definitely not the softest, but you know what? If you put in the right spot, somewhere around there, not too bad, not too shabby. So it's kind of the everything light. I sort of would compare it, honestly, to a cell phone. And the reason why is because, well, it's a light that you can take with you anywhere. Like literally, let's just compare. Light, cell phone. Right? So it's just so small, you have it in your pocket, in your bag, in your whatever all the time. The light you have is way more helpful than the light you don't have. Kind of like a cell phone. Like most of the photos I take when I'm on a hike wind up being on a nice cell phone. Why? Because I just didn't happen to take my camera because it was too big and heavy and bulky, or I didn't want it stolen, or the situation, I just didn't know what I was expecting, didn't plan to take a photo. So I didn't have my camera, but I have my cell phone. I think this light is pretty much the same thing. Like, is the kind of light you have, you're gonna use this light, you're gonna love this light. I promise you, you won't be disappointed by this light. Is it for everything? Would I recommend it as your like #1 light if it's the first one you're buying? It depends what you need. If you need something that's mobile, that's rechargeable, that you can take with you anywhere, that's light, that's super travel friendly, that syncs to an app, that like it's got a lot going for it. However, if you want a really nice soft light to give you really beautiful lighting for a YouTube studio, for example, this would probably be the second light I'd buy. First, I'd buy something like my Falcon Eyes TD18X, or just something bigger, right? Something softer, something that's a little bit more permanent. However, you honestly can't beat this light when it comes to functionality, when it comes to portability, and when it comes to kind of value for what you're getting and what you can do. Like these same lights, 4 or 5 years ago, this would have been $500-600. 7-8 years ago, this light would have been probably $1,200. It's amazing the value you get now for your buck. I can't talk. So hopefully that helps answer any questions that you have about this light in terms of how it works, how the app works, the experience, the build quality. I've been really, really impressed. Battery life, I haven't had a chance to actually test just how long this thing goes. So I can't say for sure, but I will say in the time that I've been using it, it says the battery is 3,800 milliamp hours and it's 28.8 watt hours. Now let's just see. If we look at the output, which is 12 watts, we've got 28 watt hours. So we should probably have, what does that work out to? Do some quick math for me. So I'm no expert, but my assumption is if we've got 28.8 watt hours and our output is 12 watts max, that we should theoretically have just over 2 hours of runtime with this light at 100%. Now, that might be entirely wrong. If you know more about this than me, please leave it in the comments below. I apologize if I got it wrong, but that would seem to be about in line with what I've been seeing from this light so far. As you'll definitely see over an hour of use time, no problem. I haven't tested it from 100% to completely dead, so your mileage may vary, but basically this light for your typical shoot, which isn't going to last that much longer, is going to last everything you need. It's the kind of light that you can just put in your bag, you're going to keep it charged, it's really great, and you can recharge it. Like, that's so cool. Just charge it with your standard camera charger now at this point, and I believe you can run it while it's charging. So let's just test that really, really quick. Okay, so we're going to plug this in, and yep, Now it's got a little icon that says charging. So if you want to, and you had this in your studio fixed on a light stand somewhere as a hair light or a backlight or whatever, all you have to do is just plug it into an adapter. Super easy, super simple. Any cell phone adapter, any cell phone charger, any camera charger, and you can just run this light indefinitely. So yeah, this is kind of the best thing ever. So can't say enough good things. I would highly recommend, if you do have questions for things that I didn't answer, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments below. So just ask me in the comments. I'll make sure to get back to you. I'm going to keep you updated on how I like my Pocket Light F7 II in the future, but for now, I'd give it 2 thumbs up. Thanks, Falcon Eyes. Appreciate it. If you want to grab it, you can see it in the link below. Take care.